Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Professor T here, and today we are going to study supply, the basics of supply. So I'll try to make it as short and informative as possible so that I can save you time. So let's start. Uh, so we'll be doing everything about supply except price elasticity of supply, which will be covered in the next video. Alright, so let's start. So first of all, we need to understand what supply actually is. So supply is the amount of a product that producers are willing and able to sell. Again, willing and able are the keywords. You would have been told that in your economics class as well. So because producers need to be willing to produce it and they should be able to produce it. So they have enough means to supply the product. As you see, willing suggests that the producer wants to sell the product, and able means that they have the means to supply the product at a specific price at a specific point in time. You can also write it as at a given price and at a given point in time. So these four are the keywords. So let's say if this definition comes for 2 marks, you would have to mention all four of them. Alright, so this is the basic definition. The amount of a product that producers are willing and able to sell at a specific price at a specific point in time. Alright, so now what affects the level of supply? We need to understand. So the thing is price of the good. Now let's say a product can be sold at a higher price, right? For example, let's say Apple phones, right? Now what producers will do is they'll increase its production. So they'll produce more of it because they know if it's being sold at a higher price, the producers will want to maximize their profits because they know that consumers are wanting to buy that product. So what they can do is they just produce more and more, and that would be sold. They get more revenue there. Then they would get more profits. Now the other thing is the impact of changing cost of production. So costs change constantly, which is very self-explanatory. If the costs are lower, that makes supplying a product more profitable. Of course, right? That's self-explanatory. So what are your profits? Profits are basically your revenue minus costs, right? You when you sell a product, you get revenue, and you will consider your costs, which had been taken into account while making the product. You subtract them, you get the profits. So now, if costs are lower, you get more profits. Firms will also have to take into account quality if they look to change suppliers. Well, of course, yeah. You need to make sure that even if your costs are changing, you are still maintaining that quality so that people will buy their product. Now, technological progress. As technology improves, firms find it cheaper to produce. So this point is related to the second one, that as technology improves, that firms will find it cheaper to produce. Of course, that's very self-explanatory. Now, new technology makes it quicker and easier to produce goods and services. And again, if your costs are lower, you can produce more, and you can maximize your profits. Price of other goods and services. I gave the Coke and Pepsi example in the demand videos. So same goes for here. An increase in the price of other goods and services will mean that the firm is more likely to get increased custom. It's likely to feel. Never mind. So price of other goods and services. Let's take example of substitutes, right? So like Coke and Pepsi. So let's say if supply of Coke increases, let's say Coke and Pepsi come at the same price. They both are substitutes. People are willing to have either one of them. Now, if you increase the supply of Coke, the likelihood of it being bought more increases, and as a result, the Coke company or Coca-Cola, as you would say, are they safe? Never mind. So the whatever the company is, they can maximize their profits. Now, government policy, taxes and subsidies. Taxes raise costs, so firms will have. Okay, yeah. So now let's say government increases corporation tax. Corporation tax. So it's a business tax on profits, right? So what will happen is tax raise costs for firms. So some will leave the market or reduce supply. Well, if they have less money, they would have to reduce the supply or leave the market, go into something else. So now subsidies reduce costs. So subsidies is a small amount of money given to businesses for investment, and subsidies reduce costs and act as an incentive to supply. Very self-explanatory. Other factors, example expectations. Well, you could just read this. Now, okay, supply curve. The second thing that we need to understand. So let me just go to my whiteboard here. So supply curve, as we know, this is your. Okay, let me draw straight line. So here, right? Now this one goes here. So basically, it's like your x and y axis. Well, you could just make an arrow here. here. Now price always comes on the y-axis. Sorry for my handwriting. And quantity, I'll just write Q here, and price, PRICE. Now as we know, okay, first of all, the law of supply. So if price increases, the supply will increase. In demand, it's the inverse relationship. If the price increases, the demand decreases. But if the price increases, the supply will increase because producers are willing to supply more. So supply curve will always be like this, from left to right and upward sloping, and you have to write S here. Now if you need to calculate supply at a given point, what you do is, let's say here, let's say this was 30, and you are asked to calculate the supply at the given point. You will draw a dotted line like this here, and go down with it, perpendicular here, and you will measure whatever here it is. Let's say it's 60 units or something. So this is how you draw a supply curve. And if it's given data, you just label the coordinates. I should not waste time doing that. And yeah, so this is one using data. So you see price goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and quantity 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's a linear relationship. Now a change of price is shown by 15 to 10. Yeah, right. So well, if you see here, so this was a contraction in the supply, because when it was 15, the supply was more, then it went to 10, so supply was less. So this is a contraction. If it was 20, then there would be an extension in supply. So this is a movement along the demand supply curve, not a shift. Yeah. Yeah. Now this is a shift in supply curve. Again, if I give you an example, so what's the difference between shift and movement? So movement like this, where it is, movement like this, let's say from 15 to 10, is just caused by price alone, nothing else. And this is caused by anything except price. So like, let's say ice cream, which I gave the example of ice cream which I gave in the previous videos. So let's say the supply of ice cream in summers at a given point is this, and now in winters it will decrease regardless of the price. The price will remain the same, but since the season has changed, the supply will be less for. So this is let's just call this winters, and this S is summer and S1 is winter. So now you understand what is the difference between supply, the movement, and a shift. So this is a shift, that was a movement. What else? Oh, 4 factors that influence supply. We just explained that. We know what is the supply, draw a supply curve, you know that. And with the use of 2 diagrams, explain the difference in movement across supply and supply curve. Wow, I think we have come to the end. So this is price elasticity of supply, which will be covered in the next video. And now let me just OCR GCSE economics specification. Let me just see if I've missed anything. Most likely not. Where is it? Supply? Yeah. Okay, so causes and consequences of consumers and producers of shifts and movements of supply curve. So basically, this is very easy to understand. So, well, if the price increases, like producers are of course producing more, but they should not increase the price so much. I mean, they are not the ones increasing the price. So let's say when they measure the price, it should also be kept in mind that consumers are actually able to buy it. It should not be too high for them. So well, these, I think I would make 6 markers video on how to attempt 6 markers and other stuff for this, analyze the causes and consequences for consumers and producers. So of course, I mean, if there is more supply, of course, the demand for the consumers will be fulfilled. And well, other thing that you would always need to consider is the price too high? So that could cause a problem. But that would be a problem for producers as well, because then they would have to lower the price so that people can actually buy it, because in the end they want people to buy their products, right? So they can gain revenue. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video with price elasticity of supply. Thank you very much.